everyone. It's been a while since we filmed anything, but I'm Elaine, in case you forgot, and I'm joined by always by
Melody, kia ora.
Melody. And today we have Kiki with us, who has just kind of become our third as we've embarked on a venture of starting a league together. Um, and we're just going to hang out and have a very chill conversation. I think that in the past few weeks, or the past like not even few weeks, several months, it's always just been like all work all the time, even though we have
Mhm.
fun. But so here's our opportunity to kind of sit back and share a little perspective on this adventure with everyone. But yeah, how are you doing today, Kiki?
Welcome again, Kiki.
I am so tired going into this last week. There's so much things to do. But yeah, no, it's great though. Like it's all very rewarding. But like, heck, there's just so much. Like, ugh, I don't even know how to
Yeah.
say it. Like, there's still like more videos to upload the edit to sound to, and like this is not my area of expertise. Like, computer things aren't my thing. But somehow I'm just like, yeah, I can do it. I can figure out all these things by myself. I can't. I need help.
We appreciate you so much for it. It's definitely been like, I mean, that's how when we started like the podcast, it was like, yeah, we can figure out how to film a podcast and edit it and put it on YouTube. And somehow every week I still feel like I'm still trying to figure out how to do that successfully. So I definitely understand, but also thank you so much for teaching and learning and helping out on the editing side with the league. I very much appreciate it. And but that's the other thing. Like I feel like with the start of the league, like the three of us each kind of brought very specific skill
Mm,
sets in the beginning, and then
yeah,
since then have kind of just like been playing so much. What is the word, like tag? Just like learning and being like, hey, I know this is what I usually do. I can't do it this week. Here's
yeah,
how I usually do it, and it's like, hey, I'll figure it out. Thanks.
yeah. No, I was speaking to Yuki about it, how it kind of felt like a group project where everyone actually does stuff. Like we've all been in group projects where like there's always one person that doesn't do things, but in this case, I feel like we've all had a pretty critical role and like understood what we needed to do, but also taken on other roles as need be. So, for example, when I was away, like y'all were doing a lot of the results and stuff, which isn't your background. You don't work in LGSs, but you were able to learn how to do that kind of stuff. Or if like
Yeah.
Elaine was away, then I was learning the editing side of thing and freaking out and not knowing how to download any sort of like videos that I put together. Um,
And then Melody
but
was sick with COVID forever, and so yep.
Yeah,
yeah,
but Melody, you laid the organization
hmm
groundwork. Like you definitely had to take a step back just to take care of yourself, but without like the all the confluence pages that you put together and all the spreadsheets and just
yeah,
like being on top of stuff, I think that I would have fallen apart. So
we'd still be in a Google Doc. Like,
yeah, we'd still be
Oh,
in a
that's
very
true. We
a
just
Google
started on a
Doc that
Google
keeps
Doc.
getting longer and longer and longer instead of it all actually like organized into separate things.
yes, yes.
Oh, anyway, it has been a journey. And I think that I guess we should start from the beginning of like,
Mm.
where did this come from? Why did we want to do this? How did the idea
hmm
come to be? Anyone want to start? Talk on that?
When did this first come up? I remember Melody and I talking about this long ago.
So I remember it even before like a Pitch Perfect really even became
Yeah.
a podcast, quite honestly, because we started talking, Melody and I were like, we're gonna do this podcast, and immediately Kiki, you and Yuki were like, oh, you guys should instead do a podcast. Have you heard of the VML? And it was like the idea was thrown out there way at the beginning at the same time as the podcast idea. And it was like, yes. Um, and it kind of just never went away. But trying to figure out like when we actually, I don't know. I'm like, when was it a concrete like, okay, this is something we're doing? Like, I want to say probably like September, October.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember being roughly around World's time.
Hmm.
Mm.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, I can't remember if it was before or after specifically, but it was definitely like over 6 months ago. Definitely within 2022 when it first came up, and like I think at the very least, when the three of us first talked about it, it was kind of like, what if we did this? Like, what if we just did it?
Mm-mm-mm.
Like, what if it was us? And then, yeah, I guess we kind of manifested it almost, like, just willed it into existence.
Yeah, it's kind of strange because like a- as we were talking about it, like kind of just always being an idea, always being there, and then like it's hard to remember when we actually started like putting things into full effect. It's felt like a whirlwind, but at the same time, it's felt like something that's just like we've been working on since the
Mm.
beginning of time. I feel like I remember just getting a message from Melody one day being like, "So I talked to Kiki, and they are interested in helping us do a league." And I was just like, okay, sounds cool. Put us in a group chat. And then the next thing I know, it's like, okay, we have a website that goes live in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay. And now here we are, like so much work and just like tunnel vision later. And it's like, oh, we just we just found out who well, the public hasn't found out yet, but we just found out who's in our top 8. And that's about to kick off. How do you remember it happening, Melody?
My memory is having the corridor with Kiki, with your stuff. It's kind of a mashup of a lot of conversations and wanting to bring a league to life and sort of it getting put on the back burner. And then we decided, yep, we're actually going to do it. And I don't know if you guys remember, but when we wanted to start it this year, we put it off a couple of times. You probably do
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
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 And then all of a sudden, we're like, okay, let's make it happen. And we actually stood it up in only a couple of weeks. Like
Yeah.
we made the decision and then I think we pushed it out one more week for one reason. I can't recall what it was. And then we're just like, go, go, go. Go, go,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, and I very
Well,
much remember kind of feeling not necessarily a bad thing, but like a slow process. Like there was a lot that we kind of would talk about, and a lot of the meetings were kind of like we need to do this, so and so forth. But then like once we decided that like date, we're gonna do it now, or not now, but like excuse me, we're gonna do it in like 3 weeks time. We need to do this, this, and this, and then like yeah, suddenly because we all knew what we had to do, even though we hadn't like really started on it, we just pushed it out.
yeah, I feel so. I remember. I feel like in December was when we first started talking seriously about this, and then like around January we started having our weekly or twice a week meetings.
Mm,
And I
yeah,
feel like originally we were like, by the end of February we'll be good to go.
yeah,
Like
that's
we
right.
just need to like we just
Very
need to like
ambitious.
yeah like make a name and like make a Discord and a logo. Like what else is there to this?
Yeah,
And then we're like maybe when we started talking about it, we're like maybe we should do like prizes and then reached out to sponsors and then started talking to sponsors and we're like we're gonna need more time, like
yeah,
let's push it out because I think it was like the end of ProQuest season 1. We were like
yeah.
we'll
That's
launch
right.
after that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like after ProQuest season people calm down um before Dynasty comes out,
yeah.
or
That's
yeah,
right.
we're
Yeah,
like yeah it'll be great because they'll play before a new set. And then it was like okay well and it just kept getting like I don't think I think none of us realized exactly how much work it was going to be at first. And then the more we got into it, the more we are like, okay, we can make this even better than we originally thought. It's just going to take more work and we need to push back the date. And I don't know about you guys, but leading up to when we actually launched, I was like, is this actually happening right now? Like, are we ready? Are we going to do this? Like, are we going to push it back again or are we going through with it this time?
yeah,
And then we did, and it was great. I mean, here we are.
I, me, I was always, well, I was always worried about not being prepared enough. I remember at one point, so we did a lot of preparation. We'll talk about that. But I remember at one point, I think it was you, Kiki, and you just said, "Look, let's do this." And in my head, I'm like, "No, but we've got to do this. We have to have this lined up and this lined up." So for those that are listening, so I'm the organized. Well, we're all organized, but I like things to be
No.
organized and
Yes,
structured,
no.
and
You're the organized one.
you
That's right.
are the organized one. You could
and
take the
s-
title.
and yeah, and I just remember being like, I was gonna swear then, like, I don't think we're ready, and then we just did it.
Hmm.
And I think one of the learnings for me is like there's loads of learnings from this experience. It's not finished yet either. Um, is everything doesn't have to be perfect
Yeah,
to move
Yeah.
ahead. Like there were certain things that we hadn't already lined up and hadn't done, and I'm like, but we needed everything perfect, but we didn't.
yeah.
We were just able to move forward.
Well, that's a question. Like thinking back about it, I don't know that even now where we are, like we're in top eight, and even now, I don't think that there ever would have been a point where I was like, I feel like we've checked every box because even since launch, there's been hurdles that I mean, I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give us some credit. We really thought, I think, about every situation that could have happened. We
Hmm.
thought like we did prepare for pretty much everything, but there was still just kind of like I don't know, there was still hurdles in the sense that I guess in my mind it was like once this kicks off, we're good to go. Like we just gotta get through registration, put everything in, and then every week it's just like what, edit one video, repair. And that is far from the truth.
Hmm.
It's like 24/7. Every morning I wake up and check what the 60 messages I have in the group chat, and I think we all do that. It's just like the to-do list is never ending, and I think that's like one thing I didn't expect, and so being here now, I don't think that there ever would have been a point where I felt like we were 100% ready.
Hmm. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
But like, I've been pretty proud of us of how we've just kind of managed to take everything as it's come for the most part. You know, like we have had all these hurdles, these issues that we didn't realize would have. I didn't realize how much of us would like spend time away, for example. Like, I didn't plan to go on a whale watching trip in the middle of it for like
No.
half a week
Yeah.
or something. At the very start of the event, nonetheless.
Or Melody to get COVID, like,
Yeah,
right at the start of the event too.
Right at the
That's
beginning.
I know. That's
yeah,
had, like, some lasting effects. I also ended up having to go home for, like, a week and a half in the middle there too.
yeah.
We all had, like, definitely.
Life.
Yeah,
Hmm.
which makes me very thankful to be working with both of you guys who've we've managed to get through and kind of, like, be able to lean on each other when we need and pass off responsibilities and, like, because we each have so, like, Kiki, you had TO experience. I have somewhat successfully managed to edit and upload videos for a podcast. I had a little bit of experience on that end. Melody is
Hmm.
the organized one. Like I joked about, this would still just be a never ending, very long Google Doc without Melody.
Yeah.
To put things where they belong and keep us on track. And it's just been like, okay, we each bring such a skill set that makes us like a really good team to work in as a group. And then when one of us is gone, we're like, hey, this is how I do my things,
Yeah.
and then one of the other two has just been like, okay, I'll learn how to do it and take it on. Have fun. Good luck. Take a break. Because breaks, I think we've all had much needed breaks throughout
Mm.
too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what do you think has been some of the keys to the success of the Rainbow Pitch League?
I think we did a
I
good job of like
mm,
reaching out to people and making people known that it was happening. At least like we knew our target audience was in terms of player base, right? Like we have
yes.
a very
Mm,
specific community in this game.
yeah.
Um, and I think that's reflected in how quickly people were able to and keen to sign up to this event. Um, it's wild to me that we've only had 3 drops in the event, which sounds kind of like, ideally you don't have any. But like this is a
Right.
64-person event. And the fact that we only had 3, I think one of our judges brought it up in the Discord as well. The fact that we only had 3 drops going through the entire event is,
It's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. 3 drops. This is also not only is a 64 person event explicitly, like it's a 6 week event, like it's a long commitment for
Hmm.
people. And they even, like you said, one of our judges talked about it, that these bottom table games that you're not going to get into like top eight playing a week 6 at the bottom table, but they're still being played. And
Hmm.
then people are still saying like, oh, I just played my last game, I'm so sad about it. And it's like,
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just been such a great experience to like see
And
that too.
I think this is me personally, and we are so gonna ask our entrants, but I think it's a testament
Yeah.
to the the values
Hmm.
that we have the league and instilling those values, the community. Like normally, you go to a calling, I've only been to one, but you go to these big events, and when people get to the bottom tables, they don't play. They're dropping.
Yeah.
But our players want to play each other. They still want to be part of the
Hmm.
community and to interact with one another and play. And they're not playing on teleshow like that. Some of them might be, but a lot of them are playing web games
Hmm.
and they're making friends and enjoying themselves. So I think what we've created in terms of the community, and the community's kind of created itself as well, has been a huge part of the success. That's me personally.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, just
100% agree.
what? Yeah, just to echo that, like, yeah, watching the players just kind of like bond and become friends, and even just getting to know the players
Hmm.
in the Discord throughout the tournament has been really fun. Like, we have like 6 people who have the same name, and they've kind of just like formed like a little group, and now there's just like so many inside jokes too that people talk about, and it brings me so much joy throughout the day just to see people like organizing their games, playing their games, reporting their games, but even beyond that, just seeing them like we're just talking 24/7 in
Yeah.
the Discord and just having fun and making jokes and getting to know each other. That's been just like really
And
cool,
that's
very
what we
special.
wanted, right?
That's
Yeah.
community building right there.
That is,
Yeah.
yes, it is, Kiki. Yes. Any other thoughts around another aspect that I think that has been part of our success when we talked about it um, is our skill set, and I think that our adaptability, the fact that we, like outside of this, we're still great friends. Like there's no
Hmm.
infighting. We're we pick up where we need to.
Yeah.
We work with each other. We help each other. Um, and I think that, yeah, adaptability, flexibility, and bringing, our own skill sets has been fantastic. And living in different time zones has been really good as well. So, while
Yeah.
I'm asleep, because Kiki's usually still awake. For those of
Yeah.
you that don't know, they're usually hanging out with Elaine, and then while Elaine's asleep, we're awake. So it's worked really well with helping
Yeah.
to organize, respond to emails. Like there's a heap of
Mhm.
stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah,
Um,
there's like always able to be someone is always
yeah.
awake on the clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unofficially, Melody and I live in different time zones. We're
Yes.
physically in the same time zone, but we're living in different time zones.
Yeah, Kiki runs like 4 hours behind what they should be running it for someone who lives in New Zealand.
Yes.
But also I have to just like not to be like sentimental for a little bit, but just like you were saying, like usually when you work with someone, there can be like a lot of like tension and like
Friction.
yeah, friction that arises just in trying to organize something this big. And genuinely, I haven't experienced that with like either
Mm,
of you, and just the way that this doing this together has like strengthened our friendship
Mhm.
rather than weaken it has been just a really, I think, special thing that is a little microcosm of exactly what we're trying to create in this community with the league. And so that's been just, I love you both. It's been very special,
oh,
very,
we
very
love
fun
you
thing to be a part of.
too.
Yeah. I don't think this would be the same experience at all with different partners, right? Like,
Mm,
not just our skill sets, but I think our personalities match. Like, we're quite different people almost. Um, but it just kind of works together, and we each cover like different bases in terms of like maybe social need that we need from each other.
mm,
Um,
mm.
yeah,
Hmm.
it's just kind of really good in that way. So yeah, I appreciate being here with you.
We appreciate you too, Kiki. So, what should we talk about next? So, we've talked about the inception, the beginning.
Hmm.
We've talked about what we think some of the successes are. Um, what do you both recall being some of our, I guess, initial hurdles as we came into the league?
I would say just kind of the speed of launch. I just did not expect it to
Mm,
be
Yeah.
that much. And it was just kind of like constant in the best way ever. And after that week, I was like, oh my gosh, I need like a break. Not in a bad way, but it was just kind of like this has been so much. I've just been 24/7. My phone is blowing up. There's always something to do. And then it was like, it's okay. Like we just gotta get through lunch. It'll calm down, and it it did in some ways. I think the like adrenaline did,
Yeah.
but and then the actual work is a little bit different than it was during lunch. But just the speed of like with the mindset, I was like, okay, we have 2 weeks to get this done, and then it was like we're gonna cap and we need to stay on top of this
Hmm.
so that we don't like run into an issue of it being like, okay, well, we have cap and now we have 200 players registered, but we only can take 64, and now we need to sort this out.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like we had to be on top of it constantly, and
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. That was a lot. It was a good thing, but it was a
Mm.
lot.
So one of the upsides of that specifically, though, is that it meant that I think Melody was asleep, but Elaine and I were awake for when the 64th person signed up. And we were
Yeah.
just like sitting in our respective homes getting super excited over this fact.
And then immediately realizing that Melody is the one who knows how to run the thing. And we're like, how do we close it? How do we
Oh,
close
that's right.
registration?
Yes.
Melody set this up. How do we close it?
But we did it. We managed
We
to.
did it. We figured it
Yes.
out.
Yeah. I think the very next inquiry I got about sign up was, oh, I tried to sign up but it disappeared. And I was like, externally, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Internally, I was like, I successfully made sure that we closed it properly.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it's like, okay, so we did do it correct. Also, we're very sorry. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And
that was.
yeah, I guess like, one of the hurdles we talked about that we didn't really expect was availability of people like us. Like we kind of figured out there'd be a hurdle in terms of time zones. So we got judges from all around the world from our at least our
We're
key
so
areas.
onto it. Yes, we did.
Yeah. But I didn't kind of think that would apply to us until it kind of happened.
Mm.
Until I realized we have lives outside of this and stuff. And I guess like yeah, just how much
We
time
did.
taken
Okay.
was like also a hurdle, I guess.
What was that, Kiki? Sorry, I missed that.
The time that we have to take to like do this event is also kind of a
Yeah.
hurdle in itself. Like I think there was one
Mm.
week where I did about 30 hours of work in a week
Mm.
for this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been like having a second job, honestly.
Mm.
And it's kind of funny because in asking people to sign up, we're like, it's a 6 week event. And I guess in the back of my mind, I was like, that's such a long commitment for someone to commit to this league. Like 6 weeks, they're going to have to do this every week. I didn't think about the fact that for 6 weeks, we'd also
Yeah.
be working around the clock to make it work. I mean, really, this is like a global event that the three of us are like completely organized and are running.
Hmm.
We have like help from our amazing judge staff, and we have people who we can go to with questions, and if we get behind and
Yeah.
reach out to. But like primarily, this is us. This is the three of us. This is what we've been doing this. Yeah.
So if we were going to do it again, wink, wink, if we do it again, what do you think you'd change, if anything, or how do you think we could improve this? What does that look like?
That's a good question.
For
Go for it.
I think the biggest thing on my end is figuring out a better plan for actually producing these matches
Hmm.
and editing, because that's been a lot, and it's I think figuring out like an efficient way to do this and to edit these uh, and produce them in a timely manner.
Hmm.
That that's one for me.
Because how long does that take for anyone that's listening, so they can they can gauge how much time is invested in that? I have nothing to do with that, by the way, anyone who's listening, watching.
Well, our players have a full week to play the game. From the time that they play it, they have to upload it to me, and then I take the footage and I edit it. It usually takes like if it's a it usually I've got it down to now if it's like a 40-minute match, I just double however long the match is. It's usually about how it takes to edit, and then it takes a few hours for me to actually like process that video to a YouTube format, and then it takes about 20 minutes to upload it to Kiki, so Kiki can organize getting someone together to film commentary for over the match, and then edit the commentary on top of the match, and then process that, and then get it uploaded to YouTube. So it's just a lot of like moving parts,
Yeah,
um, and so it's like the match, because it's like 6 weeks. Usually there's been like delays, like, oh, it's this is a week 3 game, but it might not come out till week 4, maybe even week 5,
Mm.
and it's like figuring out how to exactly do that in an efficient way, I
yeah,
think is something I'd like to improve for next time.
yeah. And part of me wonders if like maybe if we potentially try to remove some of that responsibility off us, kind of thing. Like
Mm.
maybe for the next time
Hmm.
we know what our strengths are and what we do and such, but like maybe we get more people involved in terms of like the production of it.
Yeah.
Like we did a great job getting enough judges, and we're like, that's cool. That's not our strength. We can do that.
Yes.
But I guess we didn't think of the fact that we're also doing all these other things on top of our full time jobs, and maybe like maybe there's other people involved. I don't know what that looks like, who we
Yeah.
reach or whatever. Um,
Yeah. I think also like a hurdle is that this is just a passion project, right?
yeah,
Mm.
We're not making any profit out of this. There's no money coming into this. It's just us passion project. And so then it's also difficult to figure out like, okay, how do we take the responsibility off of us without, you know, like, free labor to say,
yeah,
um, which is not something that we want to ask of people.
yeah,
And so expanding is going to be a hurdle that we'll have to overcome. I also will say that when we originally talked about it, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a lot to produce. So let's like we when going into it, it was like we're only planning, and we even told our players like we're only going to be producing games for top 8. And
yeah,
now we've produced a game for every week, at least one game for every week.
yeah,
Yes.
Which has been fun. I think it's been fun for our players. It's been fun for us. I hope it's been fun for like people watching and following along. But that was just kind of like we did that by demand kind of thing. Like people
yeah,
wanted to see it, and we wanted to experiment a little bit before top 8.
yeah,
Um, but that also was like not a pre-planned thing.
yeah. That kind of comes back to us deciding to just release it on a specific date and just kind of roll with it, go with it. We thought we had most of it covered. Um, you know, when we first organized this event, we didn't think about doing player profiles or these all kind of like promotional things for each person. Like, I can't remember when I was just like off the top of my head, just like, what if I just did a profile for the three of us? And then it became, what if I do one for the judges? And it was like, what if I pick out like three people?
What if I do one for everybody?
And
Yeah,
now, yeah,
Kiki writes our profiles. Kiki does an amazing job.
thank you.
I think also doing like the because we had spot prizes and we planned to do that. Then it was like once we were getting into it, we're like, oh, we need to like probably showcase these to everyone and promote our sponsors. And it was just there's just been I don't think you know. I hope that we look very organized, but a lot of this we are just we're rolling with it.
Yeah,
We're adjusting and adapting.
And I think for me, I'm in the same boat in terms of what I would like to adjust in
yeah,
future if we have another one, hopefully, is roles and responsibilities. And I think exactly what you said, Kiki, like, we brought in judges to look after their skill set, their specific area of expertise. And while yes, you guys can, I am not in that whole editing space, but while you
hmm,
can do it, I think it's better to bring in people that have those specific skills. And I think there are probably a few areas that I can think of where it would be great to share some of the workload,
yeah,
hopefully with maybe volunteers or other people that might want to join us. I know there are a lot of passionate people that have put up their hands to say, hey, we want to help. And you talked about as well business continuity, which is, when somebody is sick or somebody isn't around, make sure that things go smoothly. And we've managed it. I think that's been fantastic.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, and I think having we kind of did. We kind of had a social media, like a media and comms strategy.
hmm,
Um, I think that for me would probably be something that'd be at the top of my list. I think we organised everything as much as and as well as we could. But
Yeah.
I don't know. People will have no idea that we've got tables and tables full of like this is our pricing for the next 8 weeks, and then
Mhm.
this is pricing for this. This is pricing for this. We have so much stuff organised in the background,
So
and
much.
Yeah.
there's like all this time and effort that's been put in. Um, Otherwise, we'd just be going, oh, okay, like what are we going to do this week? Shit, we don't know. We've organised a heap of stuff. So I guess that for me is probably the roles, responsibilities, business continuity, and a little bit more organisation around that. Other than that, I think we've done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree. I don't think we should short credit anything that we've done. It's been, I'm very proud of all of us. I think that, I also think that a lot of the improvement for next time is, for me, is going to be dependent on when we get feedback from
Yeah.
players at the end of
Yes.
this league. I'm really curious to see what feedback we get and how they think that we can improve it, because I've feel like we've tried, we really have tried to like make this a fun experience, that only the people who are players, maybe not everyone listening to this is aware of, but just kind of like making the Discord fun and full of announcements and things going on every single week. And I'm curious to see any feedback from people on how we can improve.
Yeah.
um
I'm going to write a form for that.
yeah, I know you are. I already
I
knew that.
have been thinking about that. I'm like, how are we
That's
going to gather
fine.
feedback, and then we need to assess it. And
Mhm.
look
Mhm.
at
There's been a few
yeah.
times where I've been like, we need to make a form, and then I'm gonna be like, Melody's already doing it. I already know. I know Melody's already doing it.
I also wonder, like, you raise a really good point, Elaine. You've been talking about not that we're insular. Obviously, this is it's a league for a very, as Kiki said, specific community. But what I'm not so aware of is how other people view the league, like
Mhm.
that are not within the league. Like I see a lot of people, I've seen a couple of people on Twitter say, "Hey, are you guys posting the matches, or how's everything going?" Like, I think that'd be some good feedback to get from
Yeah.
those external to the league. Like, what are your views? What do you want to see? Are we showing enough, or do you not care? I don't know.
Yeah. As much as this is
Yeah,
for our community, it's also a way to showcase our community and get it out into the wider
Mm,
flesh and blood and even trading card game space as a whole. So yeah, it's also important to keep in mind that while our target audience is our community, it's not strictly just that. There's other people that are interested and want to get to know the people that we have
mm,
and want to see, like, they also want us to succeed and they want to be involved in their way and keep up with us and like
yeah,
just yeah, like just a quick kind of like side note, we had two women in the Battle Hardened that just happened this weekend, and like the amount of celebration around that was fantastic. And like that's the kind of stuff that we want to encourage people to aspire to, and for us to do that, and for people to start getting to know players within our community, it's kind of on us almost to bring it out to them.
yeah,
So their feedback is just as important than people within our community. But yeah, it would also be nice to know like which parts of our event worked and didn't for the purpose of players, I guess.
yes.
yeah. No, but it's a really good point. Like, it's just asking people who have just followed up and kept up with our Twitter, which I feel like just keeps growing every day too, which has been awesome to see. But just kind of like, what do you guys want to see? Do you enjoy seeing
Mm,
like, how can we improve the matches? Do you want to see more matches? Do you want to see less matches? Do you
Mhm.
want to see like more of these? Because we did like, for the Yuki Amara game, we did kind of like a face off little
Tail of the tape.
image. Yeah, tail of the tail image. Like, do you like that? Do you like
again,
the
Kiki, thank you.
profiles? Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. He's amazing.
Do I need to use a different background? Like I've been using the same one for the entire thing.
Like,
You want to
with
see something switched
backgrounds and
up?
screenshots, and what do you think of this? What do you think of that? What about this color? This color? This color? This color? Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
All right. Do you guys want to answer just a few questions?
Yep.
yeah. So we're wrapping up, or do we want to ask? I wanted to ask you both one last question.
Go for it.
Okay, go ahead.
The first question comes from Melody.
Comes from Melody. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Melody from New Zealand,
Hi,
and
Melody.
Like
hi,
a caller.
I'm calling from New Zealand, Tauranga. Um, what do you think the chances are we're going to do this again next year?
Hmm.
Du-du-du-du.
I mean, I feel like we'd be letting down a lot of people if we said no.
Yeah, I almost feel
And
like it's inevitable.
yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I hate letting people down. So
Mm, okay.
It for me, it's like even if we delegate this a little bit to other people, if that's just like what we have to do to make it happen, I want to see this happen again in some
Mm,
capacity.
mhm.
I want this to be like something that we started for the community and will continue, or at least help continue. And I just, you know, I don't want this to be the end of it,
Mhm.
because
yeah.
I think it's been really great and good.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I'd be
Yeah,
disappointed if we didn't carry on with this afterwards.
yeah, me too.
I've kind of not focused on that because I know I'm going to get emotional when it happens. And
Oh.
also, I kind of know how much we still have to do for this first one.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Week 6 was already emotional. I cried a few times, just seeing like messages come in and people play their
Oh.
final games,
Mhm.
and I'm like, gosh, we still have to do top 8.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like bawling as I posted the final standings for Swiss. I need to
I
go to
know.
sleep, but I can't.
No.
It might have been exhaustion, but also, like, yeah, I guess kind of like it's become almost a family, or, a whole bunch of people
Yeah.
I've gotten close to just by virtue of running this event. And I don't want that to end. Like, I still want to stay in touch with
Mm,
these people. And
I feel like,
yeah,
yeah.
I think there's like
Yeah.
a lot of people that maybe didn't reach their goal or like, their like how well they wanted to do in the league. And it would be a shame not to give them another chance. And there's also people that like didn't even get into the league. Like, for example, I mentioned the person who wanted to get in, but the registration cut off, right? And then we got some emails
Yep.
after that as well,
mm.
Yeah.
saying that,
DMs.
asking if there was another league coming up, if there's any other opportunities, and like it would be a disservice to our community if this was the end of it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I also think, like, just speaking 100% candidly, it's kind of funny that the three of us, we haven't sat down and we haven't said like, "Hey, do you guys want to do this again?" Like, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like in our like conversations in the group chat, it's always like, "Well, for season 2, we could do
Yes.
this different." Like, it's
Mhm.
like something that we just keep mentioning, but we haven't sat down and talked about. And I like, we've even thrown around ideas of like how to keep these current players involved even if they don't play in season 2. And so
Yeah,
I think, like, we started something for the community for a purpose to build the community, and continuing with it only makes sense to continue the growth.
100%.
I agree.
Yeah.
Ah.
Awesome. I just thought I'd ask because I'm like, yeah, cool. I've just made an assumption that it's going to be happening, and I
I was
agree.
say I just kind of
Yeah.
didn't question it, but at the same time I'm like, we haven't actually talked about it, but
No,
I just
no,
Yeah.
we haven't.
But we unintentionally manifested it by writing season 1 on
Yes.
the event and then
yep.
not deleting it.
Not
That was
deleting.
2 months before
Which
the event
means
started.
yes, season 2, season 3. Great. You heard
Oh, season
it.
3,
You
oh
heard.
goodness.
Oh, heard it here first, everyone. Looks like we're
Already
doing.
manifesting season
Yes.
3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
2025, let's do it. Season 3.
Rainbow pitch calling. All right.
Oh my gosh! Oh, running it at oh, I would love to run
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
live event.
Mhm.
I know, me too. Start running side events.
That's
Yeah.
that
I would
is
love to do
goals
that.
right there.
Okay, so
All
taking
right.
Coming
donations to
soon.
fly Melody and I out to a different country, or you can come to New Zealand. Yeah, let's get Elaine and all of you to New
Yeah,
Zealand.
Yeah.
yeah, just fly me there. There's only one plane ticket.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot
But
more
and then
places
all we have to take all the players.
to
Let's
flights.
get a rainbow. Let's get a private. Let's buy an airline.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. Jet.
The Rainbow Pitch airline, and we could just
I love it. Oh, let's manifest that. Okay, that's next on our list.
okay. Let's
That,
manifest the
that,
airline.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The One Ring, Elaine, The One Ring.
With Riz. With
Yeah, with Riz.
With
Sorry,
Riz, yeah.
inside joke. Sorry. Let's go. All
okay.
right.
So questions.
All right, we have a few. We have a few questions. The first one I'm gonna ask comes from Darth Prentice, Greg. Have we enjoyed casting weekly feature matches? That's kind of something that most of the Swiss rounds have been casted by us, or
Mhm.
we've had a few people here and there. But yeah, have we enjoyed that? How
Yeah.
do we enjoy the casting? Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily love the sound of my own voice, but I do enjoy talking.
Say-
So like, it was a lot of fun to do it. I especially enjoyed the ones I did with you, Elaine. I feel like I laughed the most in the ones with you, which may or
Oh.
may not be conductive to like good commentary, but like I had a good time. Um, the only part I haven't enjoyed about like the casting specifically is my inability to use technology and
Hmm.
like somehow not saving everything or not realizing that like or not knowing how to like turn the knobs and such so that's all balanced. Like it's been
Oh.
frustrating. Like for example, I recorded the entire commentary with Frank Hung for the Mara Yuki game, which is like a 40-minute long game, and we're in different time zones. So we did like multiple tests to make sure that we got the sound right and everything, and it was all good, ready to go. Went to record it, and then afterwards he went to sleep, and I'm like, cool, I'll just like download this so and so forth, make sure it's all good. And then yeah, it wasn't, and we hadn't been
Oh
able to rewind
no.
since. So I instead just did the commentary by myself because I couldn't find anybody else to do it with me at midnight. Um, yeah, so I don't know like what happened there or how that happened, and like this is what I'm kind of meaning by like
Mm.
sourcing a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, trying to get a little bit more help, something a little bit more professional than me
Yeah.
for that. But and other than that, the process has been like really fun. We get to see some cool games from our competitors before everyone else gets to. Um, and yeah, I just kind of enjoy talking about Fab. So I've enjoyed the
I had a lot of fun doing commentary with you too. I don't know if it was any good, but it was a lot of fun and I enjoyed it. And then Melody, you haven't done any commentary
No, but I'm
yet.
hoping to.
I'd say if we can get you, we keep. It's just hard to organize, but we keep trying. So,
Mhm,
and we're going to
Mm.
keep trying.
mhm.
Sorry, I missed your
Um,
message last night, Kiki. I was asleep.
I assumed something as much, but it's okay.
and then yeah. Well, I think the most common question by demand was when's the next league,
Mm.
which we kind
We've
of just talked about.
Mhm.
And
Do we want to? Do we want to suggest a date roughly? Do we?
no, no,
Okay,
we're gonna push it back a
no.
million times anyway.
sure.
Next year.
Next year.
Yeah.
Reese says, "How
It
are you
gets
also
tricky though.
intelligent and talented and gorgeous? I need to know. How nice."
Who's that from?
Reese, are you also intelligent, talented, and gorgeous? I love you, Reese.
So we
Reese's
have two
Pieces.
Reese's. Yeah, we have two Reese's in our event. This
Oh.
is my Reese, the New Zealand one.
I love how it's just my Reese is
Mm-hmm.
how
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
nothing about the league, but will y'all be at Worlds?
No.
No, unless somehow I get the money for it. No, I want to,
Yeah, I don't
but
think so. Oh, well, my problem is that I'm like, unless somehow I get the money for it, but the closer the events get, the larger the money I need.
yeah,
You know, Bec-
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe
I
next year.
wish maybe next year.
Mm.
Maybe next year.
Mm.
My problem
I
is
think that's all the questions we haven't already answered too.
What was that, sorry, Kiki?
that's good. My problem is I work retail. Like it's
Mm.
hard to make enough money to justify going to Spain spontaneously. Like
Yeah.
If they had an APAC Worlds,
it'd be a lot more doable if we
and
could
then
do it.
that'd be like Worlds. I think it'd be a really great opportunity to run an in-person league
Hmm.
or an
Yeah.
event because we'd
Yeah.
have people from across the world coming purely because it's Worlds, and then
All right.
if you're
Worlds.
listening, LSS.
Or at least sponsor our
2024. Yeah, sponsor us for Worlds in person event at Worlds 2024. Manifesting it
yeah.
with Riz.
Weather is, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to discuss?
No,
Like I
I
said, all
think
the
that's
other
it.
questions that came through. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It's been lovely to spend time with you as always.
Yes, as
Yes,
always.
Kiki.
And just kind of like hang out and talk and not be like, okay, where do we need to, it not be like an actual meeting, which we do need to have
Yeah.
this week. We need to
Yeah.
figure out when we can meet.
With the end of
Yes.
the event comes the prizes that we need to ship out. And like
Yep.
there
Yes,
are kind of many
everyone
to
that's
ship out,
listening, there
but
are heaps of them.
So many.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to think about it.
So many prizes. That's a good problem to have, though, right?
yeah.
It is.
Yes. Yes.
Until we see the initial bill for shipping, then it's no longer a good problem to have.
Oh,
Our next
oh,
hurdle that we must overcome.
yeah.
Prizing at the end of the league, which is here. It's like one of those things where it's like that's the bridge. Like what do we have here? The bridge I've been saying we'll get to, we'll cross when we get to, and here it is, right in front of my face. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
We've got a couple of weeks. We've got this. We've got this.
Yeah. No. I
yeah,
still feel like there's other priorities currently, which is getting through the top 8 now. But
yep, that is true. That is true. All right. Well, I love you both. I'm happy that we can sit down and just hang out and talk and kind of slow things down and rehash the craziness that has been the past few months.
yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Thanks
been
for
a beautiful
coming
time.
on, Kiki. We'll
Thank you
catch
for
you in the
having me.
chat
See you there.
and have a great day at work.
Thanks. You too.
All right. Thanks, everybody.